How did it cache though? So I don't know exactly how it's working behind the scenes. It's been too long since I looked into that. But when I do a DB task, that apparently was part of the same request. And so therefore, whatever the previous request I ran, it wanted to run that one again, which in that case was the post. So it kept on doing the post over and over and over and over again, which obviously is not what I want to do. There might be something where I can do at the end, like some kind of finalize, but this is fine. This will work for us. Cool. Okay. So, the big thing we just did was, persist data, with a volume container. How can I take part in your Axum 0.16 oh, live? Yeah, so I need to remove that. I was planning on doing that, then 17 came out, and then it looks like 18 is going to come out very shortly. So I'm probably going to do that. I'm going to do the live course when it turns 1.0. So when that happens, I'll probably have like a pre-sign up or something. So right now, unfortunately, you can't take part in it yet. But eventually I'm going to add that in there. So right now, the best way to sort of stay informed with that would be to follow me on any of the social medias or follow on Discord. And then because Discord is going to be the first place that I'm going to give first access to join in on any of the courses. And I believe I have a link to Discord on YouTube on the page. If you can't find it on there, just let me know and I will get the link and share it with you. Okay, so so we persist the data. That's great. And then also, if we look at a README, we have created task. We've got all tasks. Let's get a task by ID. And then our break is coming up pretty soon. I've been doing this for 2 hours. So I think I want to take a quick break and go grab a drink. But I'll do that in a couple minutes when the ads start. Okay, so that's going to be in task queries. Let's get one task. We're going to take in the ID like this. Now I probably just want to return the ID that we get, right? So we're just going to do return DB of tasks. We want to select everything. Where? How does the where work again? It's weird. I don't think I passed it in an object. Oh no, I do pass it in an object. Okay, so object syntax, or I could do key value syntax. So that would work too. Okay, so where the ID is equal to ID, and then I want to get first. So that means it won't return an array of objects, it will return a single one, or a null, which is always fun. Okay, so then back to task routes. Okay, 30 seconds. So this won't work anymore because now we have to get another one to handle the task routes. And where did I put, this is inside, oh, that's inside you, okay. So we'll do another route here for that. And then I will create this route after the break. We're taking that in around 5 seconds. So ads on Twitch should start very shortly. Am I pulling connections? I believe that I want to say that Connects pulls the connections automatically for me, but it's been way too long. Groovy, hello. How are you doing today? All right, so ad break has started. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break for that. And then I will see you all in around 3 minutes or so when the ad break on Twitch is finished. So see ya very shortly. All right, I am back. Did the ads all finish? Looks like they have. I also bribed Zilby with some food. Brought him down here. He's not in front of the camera yet, but maybe he'll stay and hang around with us. Where are the ads? I don't actually care that much if they don't play. Apparently it turns them off for the pre-rolls, and if they don't play for you, then that's not like, there's not enough of you that I make like a serious amount of money on them. So I'm really running them to stop pre-rolls more than I'm running them to try to like make a buck or two. And it's less than that I would make. Even though they're trying to bribe me by saying they'll give me 55% sharing for those ads, which still doesn't amount to very yes, it's not even lemon money because lemons are expensive these days. I can't even, off of a single day running all of the ads, I think the most I've ever made of them is 65 cents, which is like, okay, it's, ads are stupid. That would be, I would not be surprised if that's where we're going, where we're like eventually like sponsors would suggest, okay, can you just like play ads through the video? Like that, we're probably going to go for something like that eventually. Okay, so Sylvie, you want to hang out? Want to come here? Hey. All right, you love the streams to do more? Yes, I am doing, I am definitely continuing to do streams. All right, well, Zilby decided instead of being held, he wanted to be a shoulder cat today, so. Do you want to go to your, where are you going? Where do you want to go? Let's go. Yeah, shoulder cat is also always nice. Do any of you watch Jackson Galaxy on his website? And I think on his YouTube page, he has this amazing photo of him with one of his cats on his shoulder, but it always just looks so amazing. Whereas whenever we try to get a picture of me with Zilby on my shoulder, it just looks like Zilby's, you know, like it doesn't look nearly as good. How do you all keep up with all these technologies? The best way I've found to keep up with the technologies is to not try to keep up with the technologies. Instead, what I do is I focus on making sure that I know like the basics of how to work with computers. I know the basics and the fundamentals of working with basically just all programming, with working with like Linux, Unix, Windows, Mac, just the fundamentals part of that. And then whenever I do need something on top of that, I learn it at that moment. So like just in time learning, essentially, as opposed to trying to learn it all up front or trying to keep up with it. And I have found that when I get a job and they, you know, hire me to work on a technology that I've never worked on before, which has happened quite often. So I've more often not like gotten jobs where I don't know the technology and they know I don't know, but they have confidence, rightly so, that I can learn it quickly. And then I do. I just learn it on the job and go from there. And if you get to that point which is definitely expected of senior developers, then that's a good place to be. Those are the best jobs. You get money and experience. Exactly. Yes. But yeah, it's not, I don't think it's a good idea to try to pre-learn technologies before you're going to use them, unless it's something fun for you to do. So like I pre-learned Rust, but not because I had this idea that I was going to create courses in it. I wanted to learn for myself a systems language that was compiled and highly good types is a strongly typed system. And I was going to go with C, and then one of my coworkers like, why are you doing C? Use Rust. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just use Rust. And then that's where that started. Low level is another way to put that. Yeah. Some are useful though, because it lets you do something you want. It is good idea to every once in a while. Well, so to me, and it's a little bit easier for me because I'm a content creator and you all tell me about new cool things that are in there. So I just sort of keep a list of them. If you find a network, a place where people are constantly just chatting about new technologies that they have found, then you can ask them and say like, okay, I'm going to build a project and logging sucks. Is there a good logging library that any of you use? And then you'll get like 5 responses and he's like, okay, we'll try one of them and just see how it works. Docker is one of those technologies that I would call fundamental. Like it's really, really good idea to learn the basics of Docker because it is so useful for everything else. Okay, so let's see. Right, we were going to do get one. So we need to do another router route. And then instead of exposing this router, we have to expose... oh, wait, no. I just do router route like this. Never mind. So router route. I'm going to do pass. Then we do the ID. We're going to get... async... We have a reckon response. Let's first just console log out what this ID is to make sure that I've got it, because I'm pretty sure I have it. Groovy JavaScript, my eyes. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're doing JavaScript for the code that's going to be inside the example code that's going to be inside the Docker course. So sorry about that. But it is ancient Express code. So does that help at all? Now convert this to TypeScript. I do like TypeScript. It's getting a project going with TypeScript, especially a backend project, is still too painful. Unless, of course, it's the bundler stuff all just handles it anymore. But like running, because Express doesn't run TypeScript code, you can't handle it. You can't hand it that. You have to compile it and then hand it that. And there's glue code and other things you need to set up. And it's like, oh, I don't feel like it. Parcel, that probably would work with it. I haven't used Parcel since 1.0. I went through looking at Parcel documentation and they removed the part where they talked about Rust code. So I guess they removed it. But Parcel is written in Rust, right? Okay, so let's just do a console log, and then we are... First of all, I'm now confident enough we can get rid of these other console logs. So I'm going to get rid of you and you. I want to console log the... Also, let's get the ID here. I think it's params.id. And We're gonna getting task with ID. Let's see. We'll do res.json. I want to return, I guess, like a task. We'll just say meow. So this should still be working, which means I should just be able to hit it. We'll do a new task. Let's get one. And there we go. Okay, so we get that. And then I need to view logs of you. So there, getting tasks with 1, and then if I get tasks with 2, we see that there. So perfect. So then I can oh, you know what? How is this not yelling at me? I completely failed to in dependency inject this in properly. I need to do that. Okay, so then you're happy now inside of you. Okay, so we're gonna get the task. Okay, so we'll get the task by ID, and then we'll just res.json the task. Okay, so now if we run you, now we get, okay, there's the Docker course. There's the Actix Web JSON API. Perfect. Comparing this to writing SQL calls in PHP looks so simple. Yeah, PHP is great, but I only like to use PHP with something like Laravel. Anything else in PHP, and I'm just gonna say like, yeah, how much are you paying me for this? For I'm not gonna pull out anything manual or for PHP unless it is modern Laravel, which is Laravel is a great framework. I love it. But again, it has to be modern PHP, like the most recent version. Hugh, hello. How are you doing today? ChatGPT, make me some simple Express code to manage tasks, have endpoints for adding modify. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a way to try to do it. If you already know exactly what you want to do, then, and how it works, then it can be helpful. But it also, like, if you don't necessarily know how to do it, it can cause, like, it can hallucinate. And by can, I mean, it will hallucinate. And knowing, like, that it is starting to do that is helpful. Laravel solved a lot of issues. Yeah, Laravel is, I would put Laravel right up there with Rails as in importance in the monolithic application like frameworks. You never found that ChatGPT hallucinates in JavaScript, only in Rust? I mean, yeah, it's very possible. I think the more specific you're trying to use it with like libraries, it probably has a higher chance. And obviously the less people that have used stuff, like the more new things you're doing, it's going to hallucinate. So yeah, it's a thing to be aware of, right? Because it can happen. All right, so that's get one task. So let's see. So we get one. Okay, update. We want to update a task, which in this case, we only have to update the name. Oh, and we can mark it completed. So for this, okay, so we have our get. Let's do a let's do a patch for this because I'm only going to take in the name for it. So patch, do an async. We want to get the ID out. I want to get the name. And then I want to update the name for what we're going to do. So that's going to be a new query here. So we'll need the ID and the name. So I don't need to return anything out all for this, do I? We're just going to do a db tasks update. And then I think where it's going to be, so that's going to be name, the name, where, ID, and that's it. I suppose we can return this. Okay, so then we're gonna do our try catch. So we're just gonna await, update name, pass it the ID and the new name, and then we're gonna do a res dot send status of 204, I believe, which is a no content. Otherwise, we're going to catch, get that error, and I want to handle error, and res. Okay, so that gives us a patch. Oh, you never heard of patch? Yeah, so a patch is very similar to a put. The patch means you're just changing only what you need to change. So think of if we're on Twitch and YouTube, right? So think of if you're updating a game, right? You have Steam open and there's a new game that's updating, and so it runs, and you notice that it's patch updates, right? Like it tells you, oh, here's a patch, like there's a game patch to do. Well, what does that really mean behind the scenes? It means that they're replacing some of the files with new versions of those files. That's all that it really is just a bunch of files changing out. Now, sometimes they might be animation files, oftentimes they're code files, and it's instead of downloading the entire game over again, it's just downloading the new files that need to be replaced along with a single file that tells it which ones to do, and then it just replaces them wholesale. And that way, like if you have, like, let's say Starfield with what, like a 12 gigabyte download, 15 gigabytes, you don't have to download 15 gigabytes for a patch unless, of course, they changed everything, which some games do that sometimes. Some games is like, here's a patch, and it's literally every file, the entire game has been changed. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a patch is just changing one piece of the database, like one piece of that table at a time. And obviously I have control over this, right? I can I can choose to like not use the word patch. I could just use post. But by using patch, I am communicating and I'm telling other developers who are using this API, this is what's going to happen. And you could actually sort of predict what's going to happen based upon that. There's most games use some kind of like auto patcher system to do. You're pretty sure Call of Duty patches are the whole game. I mean, it depends upon the patching system that they use. Okay, so this patch just replaces just the name, right? So that's all we're gonna do. Now, I do a patch here because I'm not allowing them to change the completed ad. I'm gonna do something else for that. Okay, so that does that, which means that I saved it. We should be able to update you, right? So here, if we get you, so here's this one, Actix Web JSON API. What if I want to capitalize the JSON? So this is ID1. I want to take this name. I want to do a patch. Pass 1, and in the body, name is going to be, let's do JSON API. So if I now send, I got 204 no content. We come back to here. And now we have that. So it successfully worked. So nothing new that we need to do with Docker for that. That's good. Let's say I want to, what am I missing? In README, so let's see, that's one of the updates. Oh, the other update is I want to mark it as completed or not. So what if I do, okay, let's do in here, mark completion. So I have the ID and then the completed, which will be a Boolean. I can actually set this to be a default in there. So its default is false. What did I name you? It is called completed. Okay, so it is completed. So update that where ID is that. Oh, you know what I should have done that I forgot to test? We should get all. Just to, yeah, I didn't set all the names to that, this is good. Just that one. That's always fun when you forget a where on your SQL and then bam, everything updates. Is this supported in other languages using this patch index? It's part of the standard for REST. So it's less that it's supported in other languages and more of that this is part of the HTTP standard. And if you want more reading on this, not status codes, HTTP verbs, path, no, patch. Yeah, so here's more information if you want to look up on it. Okay. Mark completion. Okay, so that mark. Okay, so we have mark completion here. We can come back to our routes, and we're going to create a new route off of this ID. Now, I want to mark completion on this, right? So this is going to probably be a new one. So we're going to do a router route. I want this to be tasks. We want the ID, and then I want completion, maybe something like that. Now, how do I want to do this? Let's mark this as complete, like that. Complete. Incomplete? No. Is the installing Docker part included in your videos? Are they uploaded to YouTube yet? I haven't created any videos yet. Well, all I've done is created articles for them, and I haven't even uploaded them to the LMS at all. They're just here on my local system that I'm keeping it backup in a private repo on GitHub too. But we have installing Docker as part of that. Basically, I cheat and I say for installing Docker is if you're on Windows or you're on Mac, install Docker desktop, install Docker desktop. And if you're on Linux, install Docker engine. And then I just point you to where the instructions are on Docker's website. Yeah, I figure like for anything where there's better documentation of like how to do something, there's no reason for me to write a crappier version of that as part of my instructions. I'll just point you to that. And then I write the articles where I don't think that there's necessarily like that. I think that my style is better. Which like that's where most of these are either like pointing at other things or just like you can almost think of it like a curated list of things to sort of learn and look into. Is this an endpoint that means mark the task with this ID as complete? That's what I'm thinking of doing. This is where I'm sort of stepping away from REST and just saying, okay, I want this to be that. Now, I probably want this to be like I can do patch where it's just update that, right? So just go to here. And then we're gonna get the async recres. Oh, you know what? I should be doing this. Okay, so then I want to, this is called mark completion. So we have our ID, and then completed is going to be true. And then we're going to do res dot send status 204. So this is going to be one of the two routes, and then I'm going to do another one here where I'm going to solve incomplete. We're going to get the error, and then the only difference is this is false. Okay, so now I should be able to do another patch Can I duplicate you? Yeah. So we're gonna call this complete task. So here is task 1. It's completed false. I'm going to complete. Hit that. We're going to go back to get, and you're completed. We're going to uncomplete, and you're back to false again. So now I can do that. Yeah, and HTTP 204 is success, no content. So I'm not sending anybody back with it. So the front end now knows. And so it's two things. If you use the status codes in conjunction with the methods together, then you almost have a language that you can use to communicate with the developers to know this is what's happening. So if you get status code 204, you know as a developer that you're never going to get data with that, or at least never is probably a strong word. You shouldn't be getting that data back with that. It's the server basically saying I'm not giving you any data, and that's actually a good thing. Like, it's not a problem. You're not missing anything. Okay, so that's good. We're able to mark those. Okay, then finally delete. I want to put delete under here. Oh, I guess before we go in there, let's do the delete here. Okay, so then that should handle the delete. Okay, so right now, if we get this one, okay, let's get all tasks. Okay, so if I get all tasks, here we see we have this task ID 2 Docker course. Let's clean this up. I want to delete 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I want to take 2 through 8. Okay. So if I hit you, res.status code is not a function, so I did not do that correct. Oh, send status. Oh, which means that it successfully did it, and then it didn't do it. Oh, my cat is on the list of API. Oh, yeah. The cat is on the list. Hold on, let me just move that over there. That works. Okay, so this one's deleted. If I try to do this again, I'm lying to it and saying, yeah, I totally deleted you, even though nothing happened. So 3. Okay, so now if we get all, there's only 2 of them. We have the Docker course and Actix Web. So, okay, we have finished CRUD. We now have a working app that just does basic CRUD stuff, which is great. Now, if we take a look at what we did, this is everything. Okay, so use the volume of the share code of the container, expose ports between host and container, set the working directory when running a container, viewing Docker container logs, connecting 2 containers with a network, persist data with a volume container. I don't really, like, there's not really much else that we need to do with a container. We already have connect to and like run stuff inside of there. So like all that stuff we did up here. So is there anything else that we need, that we would need when like just for daily dev? I don't think so. I think we're good to go. The only thing your volume needs is the database storage, yes, which I have right here, which is persist data with a volume container. I guess persist data with a volume. How about that? Volume containers aren't really a thing anymore. That was back in the day before they had volumes. What am I using for my database? I'm using Postgres. So if you want to take a look, here is the command I used to create the Postgres container, and so you can see I have this Express PG volume that I'm mounting to Postgres data. And then another thing that I think that's really good to point out here is that I'm not exposing the ports for Postgres to my system, so it's actually impossible for me to connect to it with another database. Only Express that's on this network can connect that database. Okay. So these are 2 things together. Is there anything else that I would want to put on the same network? I can't think of anything. Sylvie, you're done? You're heading out? I guess Zilby's done with this. He just saw that app was completed and is no longer needed. So you need Docker commands to spin up the database and then the app, open ports for app and volume, mount for data. Yes. During the course to use different names for containers and volumes. I see names repeated, but I know it's different yet. I like to do that. I do like to do, well, I guess like in this case, I'm keeping them the same here, following the general idea of in programming, when we give names, we don't necessarily want to put the type in there. So you don't say like var name string equals, then the name. You just do var name equals string. And then in this case, I have the name of the container is Express PG. And then also we have the name of this network is Express CRUD. And then everything goes into Express CRUD here. And then also I have a volume Express PG because this volume is only for this container. Oh, maybe some env var secrets for the database. I do have... environment variables up here somewhere. Maybe I don't. Okay, so okay, so set environment variables when running a Docker container. There we go. Reps, hello. How are you doing today? How's your terminal like this? I'm using a program called Zellige. So you can see Zellige right here. The Zellige part, think of it very similar to Tmux. It's a window manager. So it allows me to create windows. Zellige also gives me these, the title up here, and then also the commands down here to sort of see what they are. Which, that's not helpful. That's cool though, but that's not what I want. It would be nice if I could hide this down here whenever I want, but I don't remember if there's commands for that. But yeah, does that answer your question? How do I spell that? It's right up here. So top left, Zellij. All right, so it's time to start writing our articles out. So use a volume to, so I kind of want to rename this. Share code with a Docker container. All right. Let's see. What kind of dev am I? I am a full stack developer. I do a lot of Rust code. I do a lot of web development stuff. I do work on a front end. I work on a back end. I've been known to work very closely and help out designers before. I write CSS when needed. All of the above for everything. So I am basically I full stack. Full stack software engineer, software developer, whatever term is for somebody who does all that stuff. That's what I do. I'm also an instructor and teacher, so teacher of those things as well. You can create install Zellige, and then I think what I did, I think you could install it through Homebrew or something else. Am I currently employed? Partially. I am, but my day job, I staved off being laid off by having my day job switch me to 10 hours per week. So I'm employed 10 hours per week, which I spend all that time on Fridays. And then I created like an LLC for this. So I'm actually running a business for like this stream and then creating courses and sort of like working towards making money that way. I still make more money with that 10 hours a week on my previous day job. But I am all the money for like hosting everything else and all that has been is covered through the Twitch streams on YouTube, the advertising money, all that stuff is being covered. So that's good. Like it makes me feel a lot better. Does that answer the question or did I go too far? Okay, share code with a Docker container. So oh, there's one more thing. There's one more thing. Where am I? Where's my Helix? I'm now confused. There you are. Oh, I went into here. Use Docker, use a Docker file to simplify to customize a Docker image. That's going to be really important. So that's what we are missing. What advice would you give me for someone trying to be a full stack developer for web dev? So front end and back end web developer, but starting with front end. Oh, and also Sebastian, hello. Can you live with all of that or do you have a day job? I guess like I answered that question. Like that's my 10 hours a week. Can I live with it? No. I'm not making enough. Combined with those two together, I'm not making enough to survive in the US. Like it's too expensive here. But my wife does have a software developer. She's also a software engineer job, and she is working full time. So in a way, she is paying for me to to be able to do this. Otherwise, I would be living off my savings. But with her, we don't have to do that yet. So I am doing the very slow. I'm trying to build this up for long term, and then go with that. All right, reps. I didn't forget about you. Okay, so advice to become a full stack web developer. The best advice that I can give is to build web applications. If you want to become a web developer, build web apps, which sounds reasonable, right? You want to build web applications of enough complexity that it can show a company that you are able to provide value to them if they were to hire you. So building like a simple to-do app is not going to be enough here. You're going to want to build something that they can look at it and then sort of in their mind compare it to what they're doing and say, oh, okay, I can imagine the skills required to do what you did can now be used over here with us. And most software developers don't do that. So just by doing that, all you then have to do is figure out how to get past the interview processes, and then you're good to go. So just build web apps. And if you can't build them sufficiently complicated to begin with, then do a ramp up. So begin by building the simplest thing that you know how to build, which might be a to-do app. Now rebuild that, but with one more feature. Now rebuild that with another feature. Rebuild that. And when I say rebuild, I'm doing I recommend something I call build and burn, which is build it up, burn it down, build it up again, burn it down, build it up again, burn it down, build it up again, each time with more complexity added onto it. By the end of it, you'll be so good at that you will that building something new won't be scary anymore. That's the entire point. You're trying to get yourself to the point where you're not scared by the blank canvas, by the empty repo. And then you can go in and like, oh, you want this? Oh yeah, I could totally do that. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, Reps? So she is the boss. Yeah, in a way. Although I really call Zilby my boss. He's really, or he's both of our bosses. Should I try to build my own e-com store front end similar to Shopify stores, and it includes payment method, etc.? Also, hello, Testin. It depends. So if here's the problem with like any of these type of questions for software engineering, especially for software engineering, probably for other things too. If you want to get a job working for a company that does any kind of like storefront type stuff, then yes, you should, because you're showing them that you know how to do that. Do you know how to do it exactly the way they do? No, of course not. But do you know how it works in general? Yes, because you did it. Now that's a lot better than somebody else saying, oh yeah, I totally understand that, but all they've ever done is maybe like read about it, or they've done little pieces of it together. By building it all together, you are able to now say, no, I am better than those people. Choose me. If you just want to build it because it's an interesting project, then the answer is maybe, right? Like it might be worth your time and it might not be. There's a lot of unknowns about it, and this is unfortunately where a like a career coach can help you out. They could help you decide exactly what to go for. If you're looking to get a job and you want to know what type of project and what technologies to use, here's what I always recommended my students. Choose what you want to do. I don't mean like you want to work with like Rust or JavaScript or Angular or Vue or React. Like choose the thing that it enables. So it might be something like, I want to help clean garbage out of the Pacific Ocean. I want to help provide services to for farmers in like my local community. Like something, the outcome of the code, like figure out what that is that you really want to do. And then go onto LinkedIn and try to find companies, 5 companies that work within that space, that's what they're doing. Figure out, if you can, what they do. Like what is their tech stack? Do they have a tech stack? And then once you know that, build that. That's the tech stack you're going to use. That's like build something, sort of like build your to-do app or whatever, but in the context of that company. And now when you go to that company and you talk to them, you can say, this is what I'm like. It's not just like, yeah, I'm passionate about what you're doing. It's like, I'm so passionate that I built this thing and it's in that same space that they're in. That's really powerful. It's going to help out a lot. It's going to go really, really far with trying to get them to, consider you for a job. VVS Fountain, thank you for that. Yeah. And the reason why I say go that for 5 different companies is because there's a good chance that like several of the companies just you won't be able to find like the tech stack, or they won't be hiring, but like one of them might be. Eventually you'll find one. And if it's your first job whatsoever, it's gonna suck, because of those 5 companies, you might not get any of them to even give you the time of day. Usually if it's your first job, the strategy is different. You have to just take any job you can. And that is a completely different skill set whatsoever, and it sucks. I know. We all root for you all who is going for your first job. That's like, no matter what, network. Never stop networking. That's going to be your number one way to get a job, no matter what stage you're in. Once you know how to develop, and especially once you have a job, this device goes like 10 times further than you do if you don't have a job right now. Like, you've never had a job. If that makes sense.